Paul, how significant is this then? Israel's military asking some civilians in Rafah to move out of that city?
Hi, Tom. It is very significant, I think, and it could well be the prelude to an offensive on the city that Israel has promised for months. It always said that this would be the first step, that civilians would be moved out before any attack on the city. We have little idea how long this process would take, and there's some debate within the Israeli government and military. Back in February, there was optimism among the Israelis that it could be quite a short process, a matter of days, before the bulk of the roughly 1.4 million civilians in the city are moved out safely. More recently, however, they've extended that time frame, and a lot of Israelis now admit, at least in private, that it would take much. It will take much longer, perhaps even up to a month. And we've got to. We have to await more details from the IDF on exactly what they're doing right now and over the coming days. But certainly, this is the first time they've announced any sort of evacuation of, as they call it, of civilians from the city of Rafah.
And this following, of course, those talks around a potential ceasefire that have been taking place over the weekend in Cairo. Paul, what is the latest in terms of those conversations, and how do we think about what's happening right now and how that ties in to those negotiations?
Well, as you mentioned at the start of this clip, those talks look like they have stalled, that they didn't make much progress in Cairo. The big obstacle was Hamas's demand that any truce is effectively permanent and ends the war. Israel says that cannot be the case under any circumstances, because there's still battalions, or there's still, let's say, formal military structures of Hamas in the city of Rafah, which is why Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu are so focused on the city. They say that even if there is a truce, that the war must continue until those roughly 5,000 to 8,000 Hamas fighters are destroyed as military units. I think it's quite telling that the IDF has announced this evacuation today. I think it does suggest that the talks really didn't go well in Cairo. The other thing to note is that there was a deadly rocket barrage by Hamas yesterday on the Kerem Shalom border crossing between Israel and Gaza. That killed 3 IDF soldiers. That's the most major, or that's the worst rocket attack for some time from Hamas. So I think everything in the past 24 hours points to the truce talks not going anywhere. If anything, they've regressed.